Okay, so welcome to Executing on Trades Part 2, where we are going to put everything together. And this is a trade that I basically have taken today. This is right now a possibility of a 1 to 2R. The problem is the market isn't really moving because tomorrow, not tomorrow, but actually on Wednesday, we have CPI. And so I guess the market is just shaping up to decide what it wants to do during CPI. I will tell you at the end of this video what the result of this trade is, but right now I do see that the market will be approaching this extreme. That's what I would expect, but the reason of this is because today really encompasses a lot of what we use in the markets, and that is that we waited for everything to align. We waited for the power of three. We waited for session manipulation. Well, we didn't really wait for session manipulation, but we waited for daily manipulation, an actual market shift in our direction, and also an SMT divergence, and also the fact that both markets aligned, because we are going to look at euro dollar and pound dollar. But let's start off with daily buys, because on the daily, we can see that the market is actually looking very, very good in order to move to the downside, right? We have the move up, move lower, move up, sweep, followed by this break lower. Now, euro dollar is actually way more clearer on the daily, because we have this SMT divergence on the daily where this day did not sweep the high. Therefore, euro dollar is actually more bearish than pound dollar. And a couple of my students asked me why I didn't take euro dollar, and the reason why was because at the time of entry, pound dollar was more clear and was more bearish, and it will break through all of that. And you can see that overall, when we see that the external market structure, it turned a little bit bullish on the internal market structure, well, even external market structure, but we then ended up breaking bearish again, moving lower, back up, and now we had this confirmation from this extreme. Therefore, I'm quite bearish on the market. And so what you can see right here is that on the beginning of the day, we actually moved quite bullish. And I was like, okay, that's perfect, because that simply means that that's the power of three. The power of three is starting. And if my stop loss stays above this high, very, very likely this could have been the high of the week. And so I see that, and I see that on the 12-hour, we have what? Sweep, moves lower, market shift, fair value gap, reacts from it, boom, second market shift. Therefore, I'm very interested also on the 4-hour. Then on the on the 12-hour. Then on the 4-hour, we move up at market open, come towards this extreme, and start to break lower. That is also very, very good. And at the time of entry, we basically had this candle print, and this was a candle that was printing at the time. And my idea was, okay, I believe that the market is going to stay bearish right here, creating this market shift right there. And if we go on euro dollar, what you can see is that euro dollar had not actually shifted. Therefore, I didn't really want to enter in euro dollar. But one of the things that I did wait for, so if we put these side by side, let's see if nothing gets hidden from you guys right here, and euro dollar right there. Let's put this with my layout. Mine, 15-minute. Boom. Okay. Well, you can see that in the beginning of the day, we had actually the start of this move lower on pound dollar, right? We had this move lower on pound dollar. But one of the things that you can see is that, yes, we had an okay market shift on pound dollar, yet we didn't really have that good of a market shift on euro dollar. And there was basically no session manipulation. Sorry, I mean right here. So we basically had no session manipulation. This is Frankfurt, and I only trade after London session. And so some traders would enter here, while I would see, okay, actually euro dollar is struggling while pound dollar is moving lower. So I am looking for the market. I'm looking for both to switch bearish. And that's one of the things that I said on the Discord. I'm looking for both to switch bearish. And that is what did not happen. That's why we had this push to the upside. And you can see both pairs created this high. Now, notice where both finally aligned, where you have the market shift on euro dollar right here. Very, very nice. Moves higher, moves lower, moves higher. Market shift, very clean market shift. Also on pound dollar, where we have move higher, move lower, move higher, move lower, create the fair value gap. This is the fair value gap that I execute on. Stop loss above the high. Yes, it's a 35 pip stop, but the market has been very, very volatile. Therefore, I'm not looking to have tight stops and then have huge amounts of drawdown. So the pair selection was very, very good in my opinion. We had a very, very nice pair selection where pound dollar was showing more intense of moving lower. That's why I entered. We had the power of 3 on the daily, which is exactly what we look for, and entry on the fair value gap, which is exactly what we look for. This is basically a reversal trade where you have the manipulation, first shift, and this is where you intend to enter. If you wanted to enter on the continuation, which is our second option, you basically would say, well, Kimmel, I actually don't, well, you would ask me, Kimmel, how would we enter in the continuation? Because you said that most of the time we have both. And in this case, we did have both yet again. So let me show you. Let me just put one. Okay, let me show you where we had the continuation. Where we have this move higher, move lower, move higher, move lower, boom, market shift, fair value gap. So instead of entering here, you would wait for the next market shift. Notice, fair value gap, you enter, and then yes, you would have a little bit of drawdown, but then the market would now have you in profit. And so with that being said, that is really the thought process when I'm entering in a trade. I think about how is euro dollar looking? I think about how is pound dollar looking? How is the manipulation of the market? How are all of the traders now out of the market? Because let me tell you, everyone that shorted in London session is now out. They're all here getting liquidated, right? While we are just waiting because we know that the market will eventually move bearish. Therefore, I'm mostly looking for the market to turn bearish, show me that it's overall moving bearish, and then execute. Now, what is my take profit, you might ask? Why is it not down here? Well, because there's no risk reward down there. And I think you can understand that if you have a 0.65 risk reward, it's not great. And one of the things that I said was that my target is going to be between 1 to 1.5 and 1 to 2. And then I ask myself, okay, what is the high likelihood of the market? Where is the market highly likely to go? And it's basically this range back here, because this is an opening gap, and this is the extremities of this range. And so I'm looking to enter and close the trade after this low. Right here is targeted, which is an internal low, which we will talk about in the targets of being easy, or I've already talked about in the targets, which is basically an easy target. And then if the market comes lower, it will very, very likely come towards this 15-minute ranges that we can see here. And is my target at the 15-minute ranges? Nope, my target is a little bit above. So with that being said, that is the executing on trades part 2. After this, I will actually tell you the result of this trade. Doesn't matter if it's a win, doesn't matter if this is a loss. I'm very happy with the trade. It had everything we were waiting for, and therefore I am posting this. So whatever it is, we'll see. So I will see you guys very in 1 second now. Okay, so as promised, no matter if it's a win, no matter if it's a loss, here is the outcome of this specific trade. This trade was a 1.37R. I ended up basically taking profits right here at this low of the 1 hour. Why? Because it's an easy target. It's the target that I believe the market is going to hit. Therefore, I ended up taking profits there. My initial take profit was at 1 to 2, but once again, what ended up happening is that I was noticing that the market was quite slow, and at the end of the night, so this I actually held a little bit overnight, which I usually don't do, but overnight I was like, okay, what is the area in which I can take profits on, where if the market goes there overnight, I expect a reaction from? And that's where I saw this 1 hour. If this would have been throughout the day, probably I would not have taken profits right here. And then eventually the market opened up. London session started, and then we moved to the downside. London session basically was a take profit. What I did was I managed aggressively down here. So I managed aggressively as the market started to move lower, move my stops right there, and then eventually I got taken out. So yeah, it was a 1.37R, and that is how we execute on trades. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Click right here to watch the next one, and if you are struggling with overtrading, then click right here to check out Trade Blocker. Peace.